everybody, this is BlipBlop3366 here, and today I'll be doing the review video for my TRX 4 right over there. Let's go! Let's get to the course first. Yeah, let's get to the course really quick. Let's go to the course. All right, we're at the course now. And as you can tell, I've been doing a lot of work on this course. And I've made it a whole lot better. Let me lock the diffs first. But first, we're gonna start off with some pretty simple lines. Well, they're not really simple, but some of the easier lines here at my course. Let's get a little bit closer to the action. All right. Just keep in mind, this is stock. I've done absolutely nothing. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you if this is worth it or not. And I'll tell you everything that comes stock on the truck. Let's do this now. This is kind of like the Hell's Gate of my crawler park. This is one of the harder things to do, surprisingly. It's just difficult to pick your line out. All right, now moving on to this section right over there. So this is about a 70-degree angle-ish, probably. I'm not exactly sure exactly what it is, because I haven't measured it yet, but the stock Chevy Blazer from TRX handles it very well and very easily, which not a lot of other crawlers I've seen on YouTube can do that. And keyword that I've seen on YouTube. At least not a lot of stock crawlers. Oh, did you guys not see that? Here, I'll go all reverse so you guys can see that, what I did. I did this. Just like that. That's what I did. All right, now we're gonna go to the staircase of doom. Actually, we have to go up here again. All right. Let's go today to the start of the staircase of doom, which is right here. Oh, shoot, that's not intentional, guys. I'm focusing on recording and not really crawling. All right, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to change out the steering servo pretty soon because the steering has gotten a lot slower, and And I think that's partially because it's slowly getting burned out. But it could partially just be it's just not a strong servo in the first place. Yeah, I was trying to reverse so I could get a better line, and the steering just wasn't steering. So, yeah. But now we're doing it from this angle right here. And this, just keep in mind, this is all vertical. This is not like 60 degrees. This is vertical. But I just have a terrible angle behind the camera. So let me do it right here, right now. See, it's not that the crawler is not capable. It's just I have a bad angle in the camera. All right, moving on to the next and final portion of the Staircase of Doom. And we're gonna do this twice because there's a couple different lines that I like to take right here. Starting with this one. That one's one of the more simple ones, but there is some harder ones, like this one. Right. This is probably the hardest line for the ending of the Staircase of Doom, because why are you... Alright, so like I said, it's driver error. The truck can do it. It's just bad at driving. See, truck can do it, but can the driver? That's a different story. And we're gonna do this obstacle, as I haven't really featured it too much on this channel. But this is completely stock. Everything is box stock, except it's not from the brand new out of the box still. I've had it for about 2 months, maybe like a month probably. And now let's just zoom in. What's that, guys? What is that? Does any of you recognize that? Because I don't think you guys have seen this yet. This right over there, this right there, is the newest and probably one of the most difficult obstacles on this channel and in my crawler course. Whoa, I didn't get that on camera what I just did. And I don't know if I will be able to redo that. Hold on a minute. That was so awesome. Let's see if I can do that again. Alright. So, basically what I did is I came down like this. And I did that. That's exactly what I did. Also, sorry for this, like, crack right here. My phone is still cracked. And I don't think I'm gonna get it fixed just because I don't really need it fixed. But let's go do that new obstacle. All right, this is a new obstacle. And the way I intended you to do it was to come from this side over here and go up this way. Which this works, but it is a little bit hard to do. Because sometimes that happens. Well, like 90% of the time that happens. So, how I basically I was kind of just experimenting this weekend with how this course works, and pretty much you kind of just go from a strange like angle like this, and you go very slow and nice and smooth. Then you get your front right up on that, and then don't get stuck like me. Let's do that again. Like I said, this is a brand new obstacle. I have zero experience on it, except for like the 20 minutes I tried it out just to make sure everything worked. So you want to get your left tire on that log back there. Then you get your front right up here, if you can. And you do that. And then you continue over this suspension bridge that I made. And I did this all by myself, guys. All by myself. Then, most of the time, you gotta come over here to this side, like this wooden side right here. Hello, guys. Most of the time, you gotta come over and do this. And then it can just roll down or fall down, depending on how you go about it. But this is a new obstacle. I'll be showing it in a couple of videos coming up. I also was trying to make it so you can kind of like just have it as a little brick mountain, but that wasn't really possible with the materials I had. So yeah, but that's pretty much the entire course right now. And now let's get into the main portion of this video, and let's talk about if this crawler is worth it or not. So for a short answer, yes, it is very much so worth it. It is worth the $550 that it is. It is worth that money. But there is some things that could be improved, and there is some things that I want to talk about that are key points. And let's go back over there to do that. All right, let's go. All right, so we're over in this little gravel section right now, and so the things I need to tell you guys before you get this. One, this is not a waterproof truck. It is water resistant to a certain point. I mean, you can drive it through a little bit of water, like as long as the water stays below the tire level like that, you're fine. You can take it mudding and everything, as long as it doesn't get completely submerged in water. And for as much as I know, you can drive it in snow, but it's takes a lot more work to clean up. Same with mudding it, but just driving it through a little creek, you should be fine. As long as none of the electronics get fully submerged, you're gonna be fine. But if you drive it through mud like once or twice, and then you get rid of all the electronics in it and swap them out for upgraded stuff, you can do that if that's your plan when you buy this. But if you're gonna keep it box stock for like let's say, so for me, I'm probably gonna keep it stock for another like month till I have enough money to afford some upgrades. So for me, I do not want to drive it in the water, cause I was driving it by the lake, and I made a couple like YouTube shorts about it, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but I filmed some videos down at the lake. Then I was doing this like side slope test just for fun, and it fell off the like side slope and started tumbling, and it fell into the lake. And I had to get complete new differential servos, and it messed up a whole bunch of the truck. Like it rusted out some of the screws and stuff, and it pretty much, I had to spend like $60 to get new servos, and then I took it to the hobby shop, which costed another like $50 for them to fix it. So that was $110 to get this truck fixed back so it could work again. And but basically, you don't want to take it, completely submerge it in the water. If you're gonna completely submerge it, I highly recommend getting some like sealed boxes or something. That is like the number one recommendation to prevent the water from coming in. But I can't guarantee that your truck will be safe if you drive it in water. I'm not trying to like scare you out of getting a truck, but I'm just trying to say, like, if you drive it in water, be ready for a consequence or two. I found this out the hard way, and Traxxas kind of lies. No offense, Traxxas, but you do lie a lot about, like, you say this is waterproof, and it said on the box, waterproof truck. It says waterproof on the box. I tried driving it in the water, and it got damaged. So I'm just saying the truth. No offense to anybody who's like, that's not true, that's a waterproof truck. Yes, it is water resistant, not waterproof. Alright, point number 2 is, like, when you're shifting from low gear to high gear, like, so for example, when you're driving in low gear and you have to stop the truck, then shift it to high gear, then you can keep driving it. I found this out, like, because when I got this truck repaired at the hobby shop, the dude at the hobby shop said, hey, if you do this and that, your truck will be ruined and you have to bring it in again. So basically what he told me is, he said you have to like keep the truck still before you can shift into high gear or low gear or vice versa. And same thing with the differentials. Like, you don't want to be driving full speed and lock the differentials. You want to like slow down or stop before you lock the differentials. And then that's like
pretty basic. I feel like most people should do that, and most people have enough common sense to like listen to rules, but there is some people out there who just don't listen and are fine with spending like $150 just to get it replaced for something they caused in the first place. If you're that kind of person, great for you. I'm not calling anybody out. Well, I kind of am, but I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm not trying to like offend anybody if you do that, but I'm just telling you the honest truth. And yeah. Okay, the final, or not the final, why did I say the final? But the third point is, you're gonna probably have to upgrade the steering servo after about 2 months, maybe 3 months, depending on how much you drive the truck and how, like, big and bad you beat up the truck. So, I can noticeably tell that the steering has gotten much slower. It used to be very like fast, and I can tell it's noticeably slower, and it has been like it almost like doesn't want to turn when it's like the smallest amount of force pushing against it forces it to like be like, hey, nope, I'm not turning. Where it used to be able to like lift itself up and like crawl up and like over or something, but now it's just like, nope, I'm tired, I'm not doing that. But I'm just saying, you probably should upgrade the steering servo as your first upgrade, and then after that you kind of can do what you want as far as upgrades. But I highly recommend new tires as well, and some new wheels, but most of all a new steering servo. And now let's move on to the fourth point. Alright, the fourth and final point of this video is the batteries, because if you're just now buying a Traxxas TRX 4, this goes for any Traxxas truck or any Traxxas vehicle at all. But the batteries, you have to buy Traxxas batteries, and these batteries aren't cheap. I have 2 batteries, and I think it was like $190 or like $200 on top of buying the truck to get batteries and a charger. I got a Easy Peak charger and battery combo. Then I got an extra battery, which was like $80. And like, it's crazy expensive. These batteries are not cheap. It's honestly cheaper to just buy an adapter and buy like a smaller battery, but for a cheaper price. Like, you could buy like 4 smaller batteries and use one adapter for each of those batteries, because you can just unplug the adapter, plug it into the next battery, plug that battery in, and then you're good to go and keep going. Whereas this, you kind of just have to buy like very expensive and overpriced batteries that are like $90, which is you could buy an SCX 20, or you could buy SCX 30 for $90. You could buy a Orlando 32nd scale desert truck for $90. Heck, you can even buy like 3 transmitters for like $90. You can also buy like the amount of upgrades you could buy like new shocks and some new wheels, maybe new tires for $90. All of that for $90. But instead you have to buy a battery for $90. And that's just for like the 7,000 milliamp hour battery. I have the 5800, which is like $75 or $80, which is still so expensive. But that is the last point of this video. But let's get into the outro. Alright, now here's the big question. is the TRX4 worth it? Yes, it is worth it, but if you have a higher budget, like I was saving for like 6 months, maybe like 9 at most, and I was like working, like I was raking needles like constantly, like once a month. I was making lemonade stands. I made like $100 from those. I did all this, and I saved a lot of my birthday money, and I saved a lot of my Christmas money just to be able to afford the truck and some batteries. Which, don't get me wrong, this was probably one of the best purchases of my life because it's got me outside more. I've been outside. I have a lot more fun than, like, for example, most kids my age are probably playing, like, Call of Duty or Fortnite or something right now. But me, I'm just come outside playing with my crawler and making videos for you guys. Like, that's all I need right now. But yes, it is worth it if you have enough money and a higher budget. But if you don't have enough money, like, let's say your budget is like $400 or like $200 to $400-ish. In that range, you could get like probably like you could get in Red Cat, like, crawler. You could get a FMS crawler. You could get, like, an axial, like, Coyote or something. Or you could get, like, a mini crawler and buy a bunch of upgrades. If that's your price range, I say get, like, an axial crawler or, like, a Red Cat Ascent 18 Apex. Like, that it is a micro crawler, but it's a comp crawler, and there's still enough money left over to upgrade it. Or if you want, you should buy a TRX 4M and have like $350 for upgrades and stuff. But if you're like a big baller, like with like $600 or like $700, get a 10 scale, get a TRX 4, get an SEX 10. Buy your batteries, go have fun. And so, yes, you should if you have enough money, but no, you should get a mini crawler if you don't have enough money. Those are the takeaways of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!